Sometimes in life, you could say there's that one that got away. There's always a camera that we've looked at and almost bought, and in the end it just turns out not to be. This might have been the one that got away for me. Yes, love, I'm talking about you. This came out in 2016, so in the camera world, it's no spring chicken, I know. But it's still selling well, at around £479 new. I'll leave a link to Wex in Birmingham. You should go in and check it out there. In fact, this is their demo model. And yeah, it's clearly still an attractive proposition. It comes from a strong pedigree, the Canon family, and not only that, the PowerShot range. It's been a solid lineup for quite a number of years now. In fact, it's not my first brush with the G PowerShot series. I used to own the G10 way back when, I think 8 years ago, and I only used it for stills, and the raw files were rather heavy for its time, but it was so fun traveling together. But yeah, it just didn't work out. As usual with the one that got away, there are a few things that attracted you to that one in the first place. For me, right off the bat, we're talking about portability, and I was going to put practicality in as a second, but I think that goes hand in hand, literally hand in hand or hand in pocket. This thing just lets you turn it off, put it in your pocket, maybe not your tight jean pocket, and then just get on with life. You can pull it out as and when you need and get the shots or the video that you need, and I'm very confident that you can do it, hence the randomness of these samples. It weighs just 318 grams with the battery included. And now about that battery, you can charge it up via USB. You've got a port right here, actually next to the HDMI, so you can connect it to an external screen if you really need to. And it starts up a treat. I mean, power on and it's good to go. Power down, no problem. For me, one of the things that really attracted me to this camera was that flip out screen and face tracking video. You vlogging types might be doing something in a pretty closed environment, for example, like in the car, so the sound shouldn't be too bad. And of course the light, well, it all depends on what's around you, you know, that's pretty obvious. But it seems to be pretty fine. Now I have registered my face, but the Face ID works a treat. I'll have a little look up, and if I move back a bit, yeah, moving around the camera and closer, it does seem to be following me, and to all intents and purposes it's nice. But look what happens when I put the window down. If I can get my car keys back out again and actually look at you properly, and see if you think the sound really gets any worse. There's cars around, but not a fat lot really. So if I just pull that down, and that's what you can hear behind now. So there should be quite a lot of ambient noise, because this isn't gonna be a great mic setup, but is it workable for you? Some of you might like to cut into the frame, and as this doesn't offer 4K, well, you're not gonna do that in crop and then output at 1080, but you could just pause what you're saying, zoom in and carry on talking, and then edit that out. Not a problem at all. And clearly someone wants to park in my boots. Getting to know the one can take some real quality time. In fact, quality time should be the key to getting that communication. And this camera has a really nice touch screen, which makes it easier to flick through the menus. Remember, you're getting 1080p. I'm shooting at 25 frames per second in this case, but you've got up to 50. And also what's nice about it, you've got a button there, which is a little bit awkward, to be honest. You can trigger it via there, and you can stop via the screen. But check it out, you've got some other features here for movie mode, including time-lapse movie, which is excellent. It outputs direct to your camera, no need to mess about in software afterwards. So I think, yeah, it's a good excuse to go get a coffee break, right? As you can see, the sun is kind of hardcore right now, not ideal, and that's where the built-in ND filter comes into play. I mean, we've got a little scene over here that's not particularly pretty, but is full of crazy contrast. So let's take a couple of quick snaps. We're at the Secret Garden in Birmingham. Let's see if you can hear this very well, and if really we can get over the fact that this does not have an external mic socket. It's just a test really, but check out that zoom. I mean, it's kind of cool, right? Now after that last clip, I switched off digital zoom as it just degrades the quality too much for me. But optically, you're getting effectively a 24 to 100mm f1.8 to 2.8, not fixed, zoom lens, so not bad at all. Now, I found myself still wanting a viewfinder, and competitor models managed to get a little one in there, but you know, but I do like this here. This dial is actually dead sweet. You can have it clickless, or you can flick that and then it becomes clicked, which is actually nice for me when I'm shooting photography with this thing. Once you've got that, you've got the steady click, so you're definitely more aware of when you've messed up. Not to mention, this camera has a Digic 7 processor, which at the time was fantastic. Keeps things moving along nicely still. And yeah, I've never had a slow experience with this camera. To be fair to the little thing, not a sports camera, not particularly fast burst rate, but you can make good use of it for something like street photography or at a party or whatever, where you just want to get that fleeting moment, quick expression. And yeah, so I'm just going to run into the market here. Going to grab some fruit and veg, and I'm going to throw it into the burst rate, throw it into the highest continuous, and just go for it. It's not about spray and pray. You got to be kind of calculated with it. Well, you don't have to be calculated, but you know what I mean. And let's see if we get anything, you know, of any worth. The Sony RX100 Mark V, which we tried out, I think it was last year. That was a superb little camera, real nice, and yet more pocketable, but a lot more expensive. In the same way, this has that 1.0 inch Type CMOS sensor and offers 20.1 megapixels. I wasn't that interested in the stills, in the images, but this thing delivers, especially as you can imagine when you're shooting in RAW. Now for this video I just used straight out the camera Jpegs in standard. I didn't mess about with the settings particularly. Some say over sharpen, so you can bring that down in the menu. The Jpegs didn't quite have the same magic that I'm used to from my Fuji gear, but it's not supposed to be for that, for me anyway. And if I really was shooting something critical, maybe traveling, getting some cool landscapes, I'd throw it into RAW, and that's absolutely fine. But still, the lens produces sharp, distortion free and well handled files. And that's that. Romantic or what? I don't think that phrase, the one that got away, should ever be a thing to worry about. This camera fell at the obvious hurdle, the lack of mic port. How a camera primarily aimed at vloggers doesn't have an external mic port, I'll never understand. Well, despite the decent 1080p video, the face tracking that works most of the time, not as good as the 80D of course, but yeah, the excellent zoom range, the fast 1.8 to 2.8 aperture lens, yeah, it's just wasn't meant to be. Now I don't flirt, and this camera is not going to get its little tentacles into my brain again. Though if I see it going cheap at some point, well, it may well be coming for lunch and a chat. As always, subscribe, let us know what you think about this camera in the comments below, and well done for surviving the randomness of this video. Definitely should have shot the intro from this side of my face. Anyway, you don't watch it for that. Hello.
Cucumbers for